kids, it's Mark Miller. Welcome. Had an internet outage earlier today, and so we're starting a little bit late. I think Rory's going to be coming in and joining us a little later, not too soon, not too far from now, so we'll be hopefully having him with us in a bit. Let's get some Coders music here, and let's work on the spec for the weather effects. So we're talking about basically creating something on the phone. Oh my gosh, who's that knocking at the door?
Hello.
That was quick. I like start the show and you're in.
I'm in. Well, I'm here at about the normal time, to be honest, aren't I?
Wait, what'd you say, Rory?
This is more or less the normal time for me. You're running a little late.
I'm running a little late. That's right. Yes, Karen was asking, is that Rory? Yes, it's Rory. So
Are you allowed to call her Karen anymore?
What do you mean, I can't call her Karen?
Well, I heard there was maybe a name change going on.
Oh, a name change? Yeah, I'm not on Facebook. I don't know what she's doing.
Okay.
I'll tell you though, I'm getting really worried about the crush she's developing on Facebook sensation pen holderness. Yeah.
Okay.
He's so beautiful. That's what Karen says. I'm just like, oh God. Oh God, yeah. Oh my God. You're married to Tall and Goofy. You have your type right here in the same room with you.
Sorry, you're on the show.
Oh, it's gonna be. I gotta stop the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh dear is right, Rory. All right. Well, let's talk about what we did yesterday and kind of how we're doing so far on
Sure.
that.
Yeah.
I think were you with us? We stopped yesterday.
Stopped more or less. We were seeking an error. We were expecting an error, and the error was down to the fact that we were calling in, shall we say, Google code methods that we didn't yet support.
That's right. What he says, just in time for my show. Wah!
Hey.
I didn't hear any sound that indicated that we're putting the spec in work. Does that not work in?
That did not appear to work.
I don't know why that dies. The thing that's interesting is other things that control other parts. Yeah, they're kind of still working. I got this error message here, right there.
Yeah.
But this thing also controls like the drones.
Mm-hmm.
And I did a drone test a moment ago. Let's try it again. Yeah. So that's like the other option is it's this guy, but I don't know if this guy is related to the problem. I suppose I could disconnect one and restart it and see what happens. Let's try that. Let's restart that one. That's been restarted. Let's try now.
There we go.
That one. That's super interesting. Okay, so I needed to restart that. That's good to remember. That's the Mr. Announcer bot when those fail.
Cool.
Got a noob question.
Noob question.
How many noobs?
Right.
I got a noob question too. How many noobs does it take to screw in a light bulb?
Oh dear. I don't know.
I don't know.
How many noobs?
This is a noob question. It's a question I got. I don't know what the answer is.
It feels like this is the kind of answer that could get us in trouble.
Yeah, I suppose so. Did you just restart the old app when something goes wrong? Yeah, that's essentially what technology is today. Yeah. Well, there's some sort of state issue, or is there a way to restart modules while running the thing? Well, I'm not sure what you're talking about in the thing.
Depends how you look at the
What's
system
the
as a
app?
whole.
Yeah. If you're talking about
The system as a whole is multiple pieces, that's true, that don't have to restart independently, but some kinds of problem, you kind of have to restart the thing sending the message and the thing receiving the message.
Yeah. One of the, like, we're just talking generally, one of the buttons I have in here is reload everything.
I do like that button.
And it solves a lot of state-related issues. or if I like make changes to the Google Sheets and I want to bring all that down and incorporate it. I'm thinking about creating a page that has individual component-based reload buttons or a menu, so I can reload only the cards, or reload only the spells, or reload only the monsters.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
Kind of a diagnostics or a, I guess, in case of emergency page.
Yeah.
Reload this and that and that.
Yeah,
no,
so
this and that and that and that.
The cool thing about this, decoupling the data from the running executable, is you don't need to restart the executable if you get into a state problem, because the data can just simply be reinitialized from zero.
Yes.
I don't know, that's kind of a little bit of my thoughts on that. I don't think I've ever built any. I've built things that work with modules, different plugins.
Yeah.
The smartest thing I ever built was not related to if there's something goes wrong, but if I wanted to rebuild. So I built a plugin architecture. This is for Delphi or Delphi, whatever you want to pronounce it.
Yeah.
Where if I was working on a plugin inside of Delphi and I had CodeRush loaded that also had the plugin, which was a DLL, loaded as well, and I hit to build, it would detect the build, unload the CodeRush plugin, wait till the build was successful, and reload it. So it was like an automatically.
Wow.
Oh, it's kind of like it was the fastest edit continue test cycle ever, right? If you think about normal app development, Rory, you're sending you're sending an instruction out to your hand to go move the mouse to go close the app, then you're coming back to rebuild, and then when you're done, you're clicking run or something like that. I took out the close and the run steps, and simply just tied it to the build. And because my testing environment was Delphi, all I had to do was just hit a shortcut to rebuild, and immediately I could start typing in the environment I was already in to see if the test would work, if the change worked. It was wild in terms of
I really love any product that will let you extend it by sort of additional means. It means you can have custom workflows that the originator of said system didn't necessarily, anticipate happening.
Yep.
But there's this kind of emergent stuff that builds. I've just been starting to play around with a program called Blender. It's used, I think, mainly for sort of 3D animation and 3D construction of stuff. And I discovered just yesterday that not only is this thing relatively easy to use and apparently pretty popular, it can have plugins as well, and you write them in Python, which is, I'm just going to have to go back and remember all of my things from Python just to have a little dive into that. But yeah, that the idea that you can bolt on to a core product to create the additional facilities is just so powerful.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. I don't know what numpy means, Pudding. Import numpy, numpy.0.
But import is a Python keyword. That's like using.
Oh, it's all I need to know?
C#.
Sweet. Okay, cool. Glad to know that's all I need to know. Let's see. I'm trying to refresh something on another screen.
The reference you keep saying pogs. The only link I have in my head are those sort of circular cardboard discs that, multiple sets of graphics, I guess, go. It's kind of like Garbage Pail Kid collection logic from decades back. Is that what you're talking about?
I think he's just saying cheers. I'm taking it as a synonym for cheers. Pog comes from PogChamp, Twitch Global.
Okay.
I'm not sure what that is either.
It's just like explaining something in terms of something even more esoteric and unknown.
I'm like having a problem refreshing a page on it. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to close down. This is in Edge. I'm going to reopen it and click on the link to get it, turn it open. That worked. Okay, interesting. It might not have been the Edge. It might have been an issue with featured chat. Anyway, I'm just setting that up because I have featured chat on. It's on the second machine that I have over here, and I have mouse without borders to move. It also means play of the game.
Okay.
The face you make when something goes extremely wrong. Okay, cool. All right, so,
cool.
so let's talk about it. So we were at a point where we could play a card. Let's go get that card up. Here we go. Let's bring up like rain. Test the card. Play the card. and the message shows up on my other monitor, but I'll drag it up so you can see it. Function Q effect unknown in expression, Q effect weather.
That's a really useful error message, though, isn't it? It's telling us exactly what it was trying to do. Here are the parameters I was trying to deal with, and I'm sorry, I couldn't find this. Where is it?
So that's perfect. So now we know what to do, what we need to write to change this. So we need to kind of start getting on that. One thing I want to kind of give you a structural overview of kind of what our goal is for today's show. We need to be able to support multiple kinds of mutually exclusive things to do, events. In other words, and when I say mutually exclusive, so multiple kinds of mutually exclusive. So what I mean by that is we might have weather effects.
That's right, we were talking about a weather queue before, so we knew a second kind of weather might be coming in. The idea was that we should, instead of playing it at the same time, queue it up for when the first one is finished.
Right. We also might have something called stampede effects, and these things can run independently of each other. But I can't have two different stampede effects happening at the same time, and I can't have two different weather effects happening at the same time. But
one of each would be cool.
Yeah, the world I live in is asynchronous, and it's driven by viewers. So viewers will say, I want to play the rain card, and someone else might try to do the snowstorm card at the same time. We've got to queue those up and turn, what's in parallel into serial. And we have to do it in a way that scales, that's reasonable, all of that. To be able to so we can handle the scaling, that sort of thing. Similarly, we've got a number of different stampede effects that are going to play video effects when a stampede occurs. Right?
It's amazing. You said stampede, I was immediately thinking of sprinkles.
Yeah.
that was right where I went to.
Yeah. These are the low-level ones, but there's actually like a bunch of these that are out here. This is just power level 1 cards. But these you can kind of see what these are here, and they deal like 1d8 fire and 1d8 lightning. If I do that, what's going to happen? Oh yeah, we get the same error message again. The card does come up though, that's cool. But we get this, Q effect and stampede. So the idea is you can probably, garner from here is that I'm going to have some kind of like a dictionary of cues is what I'm going to need here. A dictionary of cues.
Keyed off the category of the type of thing in the individual queue, I guess.
Yes. That's
so
exactly
stampede would be 1 queue because that's the category of the concept.
Yeah, I'm calling it an effect queue. I'm just not entirely sure. I want to give it a better name than effects. We've already got visual effects. I'm thinking card effect right now because it's something that the card could invoke. But it's basically it's kind of a video effect. But it
is. It's almost scene-like, isn't it? Well, you can't have 2 scenes at the same time, but you can if they're because a scene takes over the whole of the screen normally, and that's not quite what we're on about. We're all on like a segment, a piece.
But also it could be the die roll, as well, because the die roll is associated with it, right? When we do a stampede, a die roll has to occur. Twitch has its own language. Not sure any of it has a real meaning, says Tony Gorilla. Well, it has real meaning. We say it does. Pog comes from online gaming now. Okay.
That's like 50% of what my kids say. I'm not sure any of it has any real meaning.
So Pog means it's the best thing. Yeah, it's similar to Cheers a little bit. My interpretation is close.
It's a positive sentiment in any case.
Definitely positive sentiment. Okay, Pogs. Got it. Thanks, my friend. All right. So, I'm back to event. It's like, but it's not like a normal event either, though. Scene event, die event, card event. What if I made it
card
a card
event? Maybe.
Now I've already got in here somewhere. I think I've got a card event.
The trick is anytime we use words that we're inherently likely to use in the coding of any abstract system. So events are a programming thing, loops are a programming thing, conditionals. These things have kind of abstract meaning.
Yeah.
So to try and give them overloaded meaning within the context of the product can be a little bit confusing, but frankly, at the same time, if we don't have anything better, that's what a rename refactoring's for.
Yes, no, I'm with you. I've got something in here already called card event data. And let's see, it's got the ID, the name of the card received, card played. Where's this coming from? This is related to redemption. I'm wondering if I should rename this, and then I've got card event totally unambiguously free and open. That's what I'm looking for here. All known cards. It's basically just card event data. Nice. Okay, so these are the actual events for the cards. It's basically a way of saying, I got this and I got this. Okay. There's a local aspect to this as well. It's not, that data is not stored in Streamlabs. If you recall, the ID is matched up pretty sure to the card ID, which the card ID comes from the sound URL. If you go to get card ID right here, there you can see we're grabbing it. So we're storing our GUID in the sound URL. We found a way to throw that in there so we could link up. What Pudding's talking about, though, if you can restart modules and rebuild without closing the app, isn't the whole app behaving like an operating system? No, because what's going on is your modules are loaded dynamically. So it's like a DLL that you're loading up. That basically all you need to learn, Pudding, is how to dynamically load up a DLL from your exe. That's all you're trying to. That's all you're trying to do. Sorry, is that loud? No music too loud?
Yeah.
Okay. Is that better?
The dynamic load thing is really useful in so many situations because don't load the ethos is don't load it unless you need it. So it might actually get triggered by some user input of some kind sometimes, but other times it won't get triggered, and therefore you save memory space and you save cycles of scanning through things.
Also, startup time is faster too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dynamically load. Let's look it up for you. Let's figure it out.
Domain,
like there's something called MEF right now that you can use, I think, for dynamically.
Well, that's true.
Dynamically loading and unloading. I did this all before MEF was around. DLLs, like that.
And there are similar things available in JavaScript as well. You can declare things to be in modules which you decide not to import into things. It's an interesting namespace solution as well, actually. Whereas in C# we write some code inside of a class, and the class is inside of a namespace. So if you want to reference that class, you need to import that namespace. You need to use it, right? Now in JavaScript, if you want to do the same kind of logic, the consumer of the code being imported gets to declare what it's known as, rather than accepting the namespace given when the originator created the code. So the emphasis is sort of pushed back the other way. And it allows for you to say, well, I'm going to use that console thing from over there, but I'm going to use it through this alias, this namespace I declare for it. You can use a dozen of them from different people and not have any clashes because you get to shuffle the way they're used together.
Surly was asking, isn't it lazy loading if you dynamically load and you lose out on type checking? You don't lose out on type checking because you can set up an architecture. This is actually an area. So I'm not an expert on MEF. I've never really gotten into it. But I at one point called myself an expert on plugin architectures and creating them. You basically, let's create some sort of diagram here and we'll kind of see it. Well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to grab my, I'm going to clear out.
You specify an interface, don't you? Here is a set of boundary conditions, if you like.
Interface or base
classes. I,
the
consumer, and you, the plugin, will agree to operate through.
Exactly. Looks like I'm not working here. I need to get my driver up. Let's see if I can get that up quickly here.
When it's set up correctly, it is a beautiful thing to both use and observe. It's it's so smooth.
Yeah, hold on a second. I just started up my tablet software. Why aren't we working here? Work area, do I need to set that up? Oh, it's completely, it says device disconnected. It's right here. In fact, okay, now it's working. That's really weird. Okay, all right. So basically you've got some sort of core right here, right? And that's this is a DLL, right?
Yep.
Right there. You've got your EXE right here. And the EXE has a dependency on your core DLL. The EXE also has a list of plugins. doing it. Look at that, kids. Bacon.
Now,
Bacon.
how is it possible
Delivery.
that you made that sound and I thought, is he going to get given a tub of bacon? That's what happened last time he made that sound.
Rory's like, he making a sound. Is he going to get some bacon? That's what he thought. And he was right. So these are our plugins right here. We have a list of them, basically. We've got a list. Okay? When it's time to load them, these, by the way, all have dependencies on the core. Okay? And it looks like that. That's your architecture. So when we load up a plugin, it's already, you don't lose type dependency because all the types I need are right here, right? All the types or the declarations, the interfaces, all of that's here.
So in the simplest case, you'll have something like iPlugin, which has a property name, yeah? Which means that all your plugins that inherit from that will implement some kind of name.
Sure.
And so the exe can go, give me a list of all the plugins, and sure enough, they all come back, and sure enough, they've all got a name. How they give you that name is entirely down to them. They could be dynamically handing it to you, they could be calculating it, or they could just have a constant being returned. Doesn't matter, because the mechanism of communication for that information is just, I have a name, and presumably it's a string.
Right. Let me come in here and start changing some colors here so we gotta kind of get some syntax highlighting in here. A little bit. All types are here. We'll make that one kind of blue. And we'll make my exe right here. I'm gonna we'll make that as an orange. Now I'm not liking that anymore. Purple. Trying to get these somewhat distinct, and then my plugins. And this I'm going to make purple as well. This, oh, that's all one. Can I ungroup it? Ooh, I can ungroup it. Sweet. All right, let's make those purple as well. And so there. So now you can kind of see this better. So what happens is we load up the exe, and the exe snaps to attention instantly, right? It just loads up immediately.
Because it's really small, really fast, quick to get into memory, and just go, hi, I'm working.
Yeah. Then we decide what plugins to load. And I like to drive that based on, oh shit. That was not close. I didn't
Bacon
know.
overboard.
Thank you. That's like the best thing, Karen. Thanks for saving the bacon. I just said a bad word on the show. Sorry about that. All right.
Family show, Mark Miller.
I know, it's a family show. All right, so I like to do demand-driven loading, right? And I like to have a really super granular approach to this driven loading. And the way I do it, it's super freaking cool. Let me get to a new page here so you can see this here. So we'll get a new page. That is, you can just put that in the fridge. I don't need that up here. Thanks a lot. Okay, so I have events on the plugin architecture. So when I create a new plugin in my world, I drop it on the form, or it's got a form. It's got a form with properties on it, and so it's got properties and events, right?
Yep.
So let's do this. Let's undo that a second. We'll put this right up here. So we've got props and events, right, like this. And this is my plugin. Just to be clear, my plugin is like a Windows form or a WPF form. Okay, that's what it looks like inside Visual Studio. So I might have an event that says like on key press, like editor key press, for example, right? Like that. And let's say I hook only that event. And that's the only event I hook. Okay. Well, I don't need to load this plugin until this event is fired. And the fact that I'm hooking this event, it's the equivalent of a manifest, which everybody else is like, it's like a manifest because everybody else is like, create a manifest that says what your plugin needs to be loaded for. And I'm like, no, just hook the events. I'll be able to tell. All I have to do is load this plugin once, see what it's listening to, and now I've profiled it and I know how to delay load this in the future. Right? Any list event it's listening to, I'm good. Now you could tweak this a little bit if you wanted to. Like you could add an additional kind of like maybe a checkbox on the side of the events. You could create your own UI. I've done this similar where you could come in and check it. And if I check that had special meaning, like ignore until loaded. Don't trigger a load off of this until loaded, like that. So in other words, wait for something else to trigger it. And I might have on project load, project loaded, or whatever that's going to be. So that's the way to do it. That's the most beautiful architecture, the way to do this kind of thing. Once it's loaded, you can also unload, right? You can set up a file watcher that's looking for changes.
Yep.
Right? Oops.
I think this is how ASP.NET works as well. So you've got the traditional bin folder that DLLs are compiled into, but that's not where it actually runs from. What happens instead is things are observing that folder in case other future builds happen. And then when they're detected, those DLLs, those new ones, are copied to the real location. The previous set are unloaded, and these are overwritten. So the running process is managing kind of in-process upgrading almost from version 1 of a thing to version 2.
Yeah.
And the idea is that you can continue and complete serving requests that were already sort of in transit, then judge that there are no further ones, and then hook up the new ones up to any new versions of the incoming DLLs, and it all just sort of happens smoothly as you go. It's really nice.
Yeah. So and you can get as long as you don't need to change the core, these two can stay running for a long time, and we're just swapping in and out plugins, right? If you need to change the core, then we need to reload the exe, and then that's a different kind of thing. You can achieve security in I think pretty effective ways. You can and it depends on whether it's a concern or not. But if it's a concern, you can, for example, these plugins have events like on key press. What happens if a plugin throws an exception while it's handling it? Well, you can create kind of an elegant solution to that solves every plugin's errors, so that creating a plugin now, worrying about exceptions isn't something you really have to worry about so much. And you certainly don't have to worry about showing the UI for if an exception occurs. You just throw the exception.
Now we've seen this. Visual Studio does this at the top. It says, I detected an error with such and such a refactoring or whatever plugin facility, and it wraps it all up in a nice little safe bundle that says, look, I'm going to disable this for now. If you'd like to turn it back on, here's a checkbox to go do that. And here are your options. But meanwhile, I'm stable. I'm going to keep going. Yeah. Like most of the time.
So that's how you do it. The properties over here are what props the plugin might have. Like it might have a name property, for example. Whatever else you need for your system, that sort of thing is there. But that's how you do it. The actual code to load a plugin, a DLL up, or drop it down to get rid of it is like a couple lines. It's not a lot of lines of code. And it depends on whether you're going to use MEF or not, in terms of what those lines of code look like. It's not my fault. So anyway, please teach me your ways. Putting us earlier if we could do this on the Kids Coding Show. If there's a reason to do it, we'll create something like this. But I don't think we're quite there yet with Kids Code. You okay? You're just like too pretty to clean. Okay, but you did all that for me. Thank you. You're the best. That bacon smells great, though. All right, so that's like the best thing that ever happened to me. That bacon that arrived right here. What's you asking about? Those are Surly Devs. That's Surly Devs.
It's Aerial Display Team.
Aerial Display Team.
The Harlem Drone Trotters.
The Harlem Drone Trotters. Yeah, there you go. There he is. So he's controlling them remotely. SOA. What's SOA?
Service-oriented architecture.
I don't know what that is. Oops. SOA. What we got? Is this going to tell me quickly or no? Services are provided by other components, by application components or communication protocol over network. Discrete unit functionality that can be accessed remotely and acted upon and updated independently, such as retrieving a credit card statement online. Okay, I kind of get it. Yeah. Self-contained, black box for consumers. Consumers do not have to be aware of the services are working. It consists of other underlying services. Why isn't there a 5 that says it also has to say what it is? Shouldn't there be a self-describing component to SOA? Document services, community protection, user protection. First message provides functionality of a large software application. I feel like interrogation should be a component of SOA. So I can go out and ask, how do I connect with you? I don't know. What do you think about that, Coding Gorilla? Let me know. Okay, so back to what we were doing.
Back to the code, well, not the code, but the specification.
Back to the spec. I'm leaning towards calling these card events. And if I do that, I just want to come up with a better name for card event data, which is already pretty good. I also could call it like my local card data. In other words, and I say it's local even though it is in the cloud. It's stored in the Google Sheet spreadsheet. I don't think it's required, but it certainly could be a feature, says Coding Gorilla. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. This is just me being snarky this morning. I think it's my bacon drop. One of my packages of bacon drop. SOA is service-oriented architecture. I just looked it up. Let me see if I can get a link for that still. I'm going to close it. There it is. Right there. It looks like it's a way of communicating, loading and unloading pieces and updating those pieces independently of each other for getting things done.
See, I often think of a service as something that I kind of mandatorily need to depend on in the sort of this architecture. So maybe I've got the wrong end of the stick, but if I'm making a plugin to interact with a core product, the core product's going to have services that I can instruct to do things which will facilitate the purposes of my plugin. If those services are themselves pluggable, then they could conceivably not be there when my plugin needs them.
Right.
So it feels a little less stable, unless I've maybe misunderstood.
Yeah.
Which, in fairness, is a pretty big chance of that.
Well, what's interesting is I was talking, so this reminds me when I was learning about Go, language from Google, and they're basically saying, hey, this is a world where not everything is going to be solid all the time. And so, not everything being solid means I can ask a question and I may get a partial answer. Like if I ask how many people are doing this in this part of the continent, they might come back and give me 93% of an answer on that, right? And they were talking about how if I'm recalling correctly, they were talking about how the language was essentially designed to have that, to give you partial answers. And at the same time, they were like, hey, you know what? Partial answers are good. They're good answers sometimes, right? Sometimes you can get a decision-making set of evidence from partial answers.
That's true. You could ask, what's the population of this country? And okay, you could get an exact figure, but you could also get an answer that says it's more than 1 million. And that might be sufficient for the test that you were planning on doing.
No, you can act on that.
Yeah.
Okay, so, so let's come up with a good name for card event data. The problem is it's essentially just the card receiving card events. Card events? What if I called it card events? DTO. Like that. Now I'm feeling better about this. Because now it's not a card event, it's card events. It's something different. What do you think, Roy? You got a better suggestion?
I'm finding this particular one pretty difficult because actually it's not a bad kind of name as it stands. The DTO suggests that it is data, pure data coming from up above, should we say, in the Google Sheet. So that's not a bad idea. It is information about the dates, the event that's going down, and it is about the card. So
I changed this. Card
redeemed
events DTO. So I've got stuck the word redeemed in between. So in my head, I won't be. I'm disambiguating between card event something and card event, and now I've just got card redeemed events.
So the only thing that kind of irks me slightly is the pluralization of events, because normally a class would be named after the singular form of whatever it was.
It has two events, so it's got card received and card redemption events DTO. Now I took it all out. What's going on here? Is this not a misspelled word? Redemption's only got one E. That's probably right. There we go. Okay, thanks, Code Rush. All right. Okay, so got my redemption events DTO. Sweet.
Okay.
Better. All right, now we're free to go. Develop. All right, so we need to... a couple things we need to do. Let's maybe go back here and kind of spec it out here. So we've got the card event queue. That's what I'm going to call this. Mutually exclusive video audio? Is it audio? Yeah. There's another problem. I'm going to just set up a new card here. I got an audio problem. I like saying I got. I have an audio problem, an audio challenge. And
the first thing is always in admitting you have a problem.
Yeah.
Then you can fix it.
Yeah. Unlike videos, video events that I can layer, I cannot layer audio. I cannot overlap audio. Important audio announcements.
See, it's interesting because I think these are categorical things. We can't make the assumption that you can overlap them, but you could have a piece of music playing softly and have a lightning strike go off in the background, and those would work.
Yeah, I guess voice. I can't overlap voice announcements.
Sure.
And I am going to need to sort this out. This impacts all over the place. For example, I want audio announcements for card plays, which means if we get multiple cards at once, we need to solve that.
Yeah. Do we end up declaring that the card play consists not just of the video that plays, but any audio that goes with it, and it isn't deemed to be complete until all of that's happened, and thus a second one cannot occur and is in the queue?
No. What I want, so I'm talking about on a kind of a, there's no video event with it. There's an animation event. So right now I've got animation solved, where I've got all these cards can be played at once. But what I think I want to do is I want to maybe serialize or omit. Just drop it. Drop the sound.
Okay.
Don't play it. So I'm thinking about for cards, if I have multiples coming, I've already got one played, another one comes out at the same time, and the other one's playing. But all of this means we need to track. We need to have and to track a single announcer audio play file, audio player is essentially what we need to do in TypeScript. That's what we need to do.
Okay.
So, for example, if die rolls are coming out, we don't want the die roll announcement to come out at the same time a card play is coming out. We don't want them to overlap. So we cannot have voice overlapping. That problem is going to need to solve that in a future episode. Do I want to talk about what the card events look like here? Well, let's talk about what our to-do is. We need to add the expressions function queue effect. And I think I maybe need to rename it to queue card event. I think I need to rename it. And renaming it's a little bit tricky because I've already got a bunch of cards up here. Maybe I'll just call it queue effect for now. We're going to call it queue effect. So we need to create it. We need to create the dictionary of queues. We need to dequeue at the right time. For each category in the dictionary. And I think instead of being a dictionary of queues, I think I'm going to create a class that's going to have the queue in it and have a name. That's what I think I'm going to do.
Sure.
So this thing is going to be, let's see if we can get a name for this. We're going to call this maybe a card effect. Was I calling it before? Card event, card effect, card event. Here's where I guess we're going to call card event. Q. Maybe? That's what we'll call it. All right. So I'm almost like, let's start building this now. Class card event Q. Looks like this. It's going to have, we need a card event as well.
Retro CRT, welcome.
Welcome. And then we're gonna need a class called, whoops. We need a class called card event. And let's give it a name property. Let's give card event Q a name. We're gonna take our card events. We're gonna have a queue of these. So we're gonna create a new queue of those events right there. And we'll call this the queued events. Queued card events. Excuse me. Then we need a dictionary of those. I think I need a class called card event manager.
Mm-hmm.
And then we want a new dictionary of string indexed card event queues.
Some people might be wondering why we'd choose to build a manager around this, and if nothing else, what it does is it means that we can't, well, we don't necessarily have to expose all the methods of the dictionary, so we don't have to let outside code remove or add items except under very controlled circumstances.
Yeah, I also want all the methods related to it outside of other classes. I just want to keep it separate. I'm actually thinking we could do this as a list as well. Because we can just go in and since the card event queue has got a name,
yeah,
I think I'm going to change it. And then we're just going to say, we're going to call this all card events, all card event queues. Okay. Let's do this. Let's take those. Let me just put them all here for a second. Card event. I want to go find this. I'm going to say these are going to be card events. Drag that up there. And now, now I can move type to file and they'll just be there right where I want them to be. Okay, maybe go static on this. Okay, so we've got the card event manager, card event. And the card event queue. This is the piece that's going to have the queue pieces up. We need a timer. So that from time to time we'll check to see is the piece done, I think. Is it done playing.
Okay.
At least I think that's it. I'm kind of thinking that. I kind of feel like let's get this thing going. Let's pause on this for a second and let's see what data we kind of need to play with before we start filling this out. And so what I want to do next is I want to go down to D&D core inside my expressions and functions, and it's called Q effect is what we wanted to call it. Just going to open one of these up as a sample. Grab that and okay, it's going to expect a couple args here. I'm not sure what the total numbers of those are. Queues up a card event to be played in the D&D game. All right, let's go look at what data we're sending over. I'm going to start up the Card Maker app, and we'll look at some of the existing, what we've currently got that we're sending out.
Yeah.
So Pudding, by the way, had comments, I missed it earlier. Serialize the thing that will be said. That's kind of, yeah, we're talking about serializing it. Don't drop, it's bad. Well, if we got a bunch of stuff coming in, we're gonna have to drop. In other words, we're already getting visual confirmation. I want to have audio confirmation of the cards when I can, but I don't want to interrupt any other important announcements that are happening.
See, yeah, sometimes messages coming in can be considered out of date or, you know, no longer relevant given this other thing that's happening. So you can afford to forget them. Like a good example is the difference between TCP and UDP. TCP sends a message and it sort of breaks up into packets and they all come over the wire and then you get reassembled into the right order and there's your message. UDP is more like a scattershot effect, so it just sends messages. Here's where my thing is, here's where my thing is, but you don't necessarily care about anything other than the ones you do pick up on. So now in this case, if we're getting messages suggesting this card's been played, now this one, now this one, now this one, now this one, well, we have to react to the actual playing of the card. We do want the animations perhaps, or certainly the effects of the cards, but we don't necessarily care to use and play all of the audio because that will get chaotic. So we make the choice that the audio can be dropped potentially, but only in this one circumstance where we know that it would be bad to just play them all.
Yeah. If there are any missing, they are requested again. A UDP packet walks into a bar. I'd like a beer, I'd like a beer, 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 like a beer. Cool. Okay, nice. This is going to be the name of the, so we're going to say effect name.
Absolutely. Surly Dev with it right on the nose, really, because the barman says, here's your beer. It doesn't respond with 6 beers.
Oh,
because you happen to ask 6 times.
Got it.
At least if he's a good barman anyway.
Look at the category. The category of the card event to queue. And parameter is required. That one's required. And I'm pretty sure the rest, it just doesn't matter. Any data can be sent here. We just need to keep it and pass it on to the queue. So it's going to be like data 1, data 2, data 3. We do this somewhere else. We do this with magic, I think. Add magic. Give magic. Right there. We do it here. And then we call this give magic kind of thing like this. That's kind of what we need. something like that. I almost can take like all the way to there. This one is going to be obviously 0, and this one is not going to be magic item name. This is going to be the Q effect name, card event name, sorry, card event name, like that. What was going on with get data over here? Ah, okay, cool. Let's make that public. And let's reference it from here. Multiple cursors would be nice right about now. Okay. So that's going to take all my datas, and then instead of calling get magic, I want to call something else. I want to call Q card event. So we queue that up. Card event name, and we don't need spell or target. All right, that looks good to me, right there. So we get all the rest of these pieces in here. To make sure we are doing an evaluation. Yeah, we are. We're doing an expression evaluation on the argument. Cool. So that means that card username will be properly evaluated. Okay, next we need an event that essentially stores all of this data in it. Let's go ahead and build this right here. Let's create an event. Let's create a, let's grab all of that and let's create a new event arg for this. We're going to call this the Q effect event args. Whoops, only within the selection, guys. Say that again. You have to select more than one line. Selection. Go. Right, there we go. Do regular selection, rejects, that'll work. There we go. Okay, turn those into properties. Okay, and let's create a new constructor for those. Just gonna use CodeRush to kind of give me that. Okay. Got the event args.
Looking good.
Let's
I love trash.
Oscar just kind of freezes for a moment. Just before he's taken out.
I kind of expect him one of these days to just pop out the trash can and go, ugh, not again.
Shirley says we have 13 members in the Discord. I have just not been spending any time in the Discord. You know, you guys got to pull me in over there. That's something that we're really going to do. I'd freeze too if I was being shot by lasers. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Delegate. This is going to be called a Q effect handler. Event handler. Actually, I probably should have just gone with the that Q effect event handler. And it's going to take in my Q effect event args. Like that. Let's go take the delegate. Let's go put it up in our events. Right there. Well, I like to keep my delegates. Let's go back. Q effect event args. Type to file. Let's drag it up. Probably should. So we don't have to drag so far. Move it. Put it in the delegates, and then I can just drag it a smaller distance. Okay, there's my event args there. And back over to these. That's not what I want. Effect. This is where I want to do it. So I want to create a new event. Effect event handler, and we're going to say request card event queue. Card event queuing. That's what I'm going to call it. Let's create an event trigger for that. Maybe I got too many. It's going to be static. Static. I think I'm just going to. I feel like I've got too many methods here. I'm not holding the wrong way. I'm just going to do this down here. I'm going to pass in a new quick event args, which take in card name and then data 1 all the way through data 8. And I don't really need sender because it's a static event. Well, yeah, let's do this. Here's my remove unused. It's going to be there. So why is that not there? Does it know that it's a... So I know we've talked about in the past with for event-related pieces, don't mess with them if it's object sender. I wonder what happens if I rename this. Change signature, Joe. What are you going to do for me? All right, that's good enough for me. Okay, cool. So now we have our Q effect function. It's going to trigger the event, request card event queuing. Now what we need to do, Roy, just want to make sure you're still with me because I haven't heard you in a while. I want to make sure that you might not muted. Request card event queuing.
Oh, I've been muted. Darn. I have, in fairness, also been distracted by the Discord. Surly hauled me across and has got me to accept, I don't know, some rules or others that I just click, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Euler-based logic.
It's cool. All right, request card event queuing. So we need to get this and hook this up. We've got a method in here somewhere, I think just called hook events. In the main window. There it is right there. And this is where I'm hooking everything that I need to listen to. So we're going to go grab this, build that. I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it down near the bottom so I can very quickly get to it as I'm developing it. There we are right there. Now let's say we got some data coming in here. What do? We need to also, to go to work with our card event manager. So it's going to look like this, I think. Q, card event. I don't know. I want to call it the card event DTO. Maybe, yeah. You look at you. You're like, no, Mark.
It's difficult to come up with anything because it is a rather generic concept, and thus those generic words like manager and DTO and certainly event in this case does actually apply.
All right, here we go. We're going to come in here now. We're going to do like maybe first or default on this, where x.name equals ea.cardEventName. See if we can find it. And actually, I think we want to basically do this. Like, hey, if we can't find this, if this equals null, then we want to add it. We want to say this.add, and we want to create a new card event queue. And I think I wanted to pass in EA to that. I think.
That's the event args type from the higher level passing down. Would we normally push that further, or would you extract the data that's pertinent?
There's only one piece I need to extract, and then I want to push it further. So I want to come in here and I want to say name is equal to ea.cardEventName. Then I want to say Q event Q effect. Why did I do that? I thought I typed in event. Q event, and then I want to pass in EA to it again. I think that's what I think I want to do. And so we're going to declare that method. That's going to be a public method. Oh, look at that. I got to be up here to get it to cycle. Okay. And then we're going to say, we're going to create a new card event. I thought I selected event. That was weird. New card event. And I'm going to do card events.enqueue that item. Pop that in there, pass in EA to it as well. And that's, I think, what you were asking about, Rory. Are we going to pass this down?
Yeah.
So let's go in there. Let's declare that constructor with properties. And how we doing there? What? Oh, EA, no. No, that's not what I wanted. I was hoping you were going to get I was going to get all excited there. Let's do this. Let's generate it as it is. I think we can still get this quickly. So let's go in here. Now let's come in here. Can I come in? I can't decompose parameter because I'm not using any of the pieces in here yet.
Yeah.
All right, let's try again. Thought that was going to work. So we're going to say ea.data1. That's okay. You know what's going to save us? Oops. ea.data2. I say it's going to save us 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, like that. So 8 pieces of data that we pass into it. Now we can go in here and say use this, create it with properties. And now we've got card event with all the data pieces. Now we need a way to map parameter order to a named piece of data and even a type. I don't have that yet or any ideas on that yet. We are doing that already in the Google spreadsheets though. If I come in and bring up, for example, magic, we take a look at this declaration here that's how we say the first parameter is going to be card username, the second one's going to be card GUID, the third one's going to be type, and then the fourth one's going to be value. So that's how we map. Just that one line just does this mapping. So anytime in here I see this card username in this code, I'm good to go. I can go do things in here. I'm feeling like we're going to need a new page here. That's what I think we're going to need. I'm going to just follow my intuition on this. I don't know for sure yet.
Okay.
But this is going to be card events. And let's just say one of them is going to be weather. Like that. And weather's going to take some data into it. And
yes.
Weather's the data that we're bringing into weather, or something, add weather, queue weather, something like that. You bring on the weather, invoke weather. Maybe invoke weather will be the name of this. Well, it is just called weather. We're just going to put the name of the queue, so we'll do that. But now we could do this to define, to grab the data. So when we go back to...
So you're going to have a column, data 1, data 2, data 3, and then the name of the thing that...
Yeah.
Or the logical reference to that data.
Right. So if we,
in the context of weather.
Right. So we look at this right here, Q effect. This is the name of the piece, this guy right here. So we're going to do the same thing with Stampede. We have weather and Stampede. The first parameter is going to be the card username. So cool. We can put that. That's for... Oh, but it's for both of these, isn't it? Is that true? Is Stampede the same? Oh, it's not. Okay, so we'll work on Stampede now. So the first one is card username. Then it's the card name is next. And this syntax is just what I use for this kind of declarations right here. Kind of, it's like local system variables. This is going to be the video. This is going to be who is, let's see. Yeah, this is going to be the video name, the scene name maybe. Stampede scene name is the third parameter, and the fourth parameter is the dice string. The dice roll stir. Cool. So that's Stampede. That's what its data is going to be. Weather. Card username is the first parameter, just like this one. That's who's responsible, who played the card.
And you got was it the weather type?
This is the scene name, I think. What's drizzle?
It's almost a degree of, so quantity.
Yeah, and I'm trying to figure out how is drizzle, why is that not in quotes? It looks like a bug. Oh, I know what this one is. This is the...
that's a variable.
This is the video scene name is what that is. Wow, I lost that. Card name, I have an enter on it, I guess. Enter. So let's go back. Weather name, card username, snowstorm. That's the card name is next, so it's similar. And then the scene name, and that's it. So it's a lot like this one, these two right here. This is the weather scene, weather keyword is what I'm calling this. It's not a scene name, it's the weather keyword. And the weather keyword, that's coming from this page here. So it's this column right here. Wait a second. I like to differentiate this with color and bold, like that. So it's this column, and this column can connect to different video scene names, like windy, rainy back, and windy rain. So I can play both back and forwards scenes. Okay, what's going on there? Okay, so all right, and if I'm wrong, and the intuition is wrong, at the very least we've got these written down in one place so we can go kind of look at those.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what's going on there. Card username, card name, weather keyword.
You've got no first row or 0 row with the headings in that particular sheet.
Yeah.
That may be contra, well, certainly what we've done in the past.
Event, card event declaration. Yeah, something like that. My intuition said to go here. I still don't have a strong feeling of that I did the right thing or yet not on this. But at least I've got these all here for the 2 different pieces.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So on request card event queuing is here. We go, we invoke it. That gets us here. And then we call queue card event. We check to see if it's null, then we add it. And if it's not null,
Well, essentially, regardless of whether it's null or not, we now need to get the particular queue and add the effect to it.
yeah.
So effectively, that first piece was a guard clause, making sure that we did have a queue for the relevant type.
Yeah, and I think what happens here is we're going to say else queue dot. Is there an add?
I don't think it's an else. I think it's just going to happen. Unless you intend to put the same line inside the if as well.
Let's come back to this a second. I want to just investigate this. Queue event is what it is. It's called queue.queue event. And this goes here. And now let's address the question of whether it's an else or not. What's happening here? Why is this not okay? Queue event R's. Oh, just taking the R's. Right like that. That's what I think it looks like, Rory. Like that. So if we find it, if we don't find it, we call this add, which is going to ultimately call
which
queue event.
inherently puts the EA object in there as well.
Yeah.
Yes, okay, that's fine. I was thinking you needed to do the queue event for that case as well, but you pass it in the constructor, it's fine.
Yeah, queue event is called right there. Because we're just kind of taking care of 2 different things here. So that I think is correct. Do you agree with me now? Do you see that that's looking and feeling okay?
That's fine.
Okay. I just want to make sure that we're not on different pages there. All right.
Coding Gorilla says he thinks we have that backwards, but I'm not sure what he's referring to. Maybe we fixed it since. Is that looking okay to you as well, Coding Gorilla?
I don't think we have this backwards. Queue is null, then we add an entirely new queue. Otherwise, if it's not null, we get down here and we call queue event.
Yeah, he agrees. Whatever it was, it's been fixed since.
Okay.
So what we have now is good.
Okay, cool. So there's queue card event. I'm at a point now where I just want to kind of run this and throw some data at it, take a look at it, step through it. Let's see how that works with regards to, what we've done so far, and what we need to do. Okay, I've got it running. Let's close this down and hit run. It's weird.
Yeah, it was just missing.
Okay. I'm back for the attack of the surly bots. Why can't it be an array? Yeah, I guess it could too.
So then I mean, you can, if you think about an array is like how you probably are implementing a queue. Well, you could use a linked list probably better, but they're all collections of things that have inherent order to them, and as such, yeah, that could work. But at the same time, it's nice to have the native facility to just say pop or push or whatever the correct terms are, knowing that it will shuffle the internals, and you're going to get the most recent. Sorry, queue is first in, first out. So whatever went in, you're going to get them in that order, and you're not going to have to empty the last item, shuffle everything up one place, making room for the next. So it's just more convenience than anything else.
These are not related to the queue. This is data that the queue event can act on.
Oh, I see. Sorry,
And
no,
so-
I was leaping on the wrong thing there.
Yeah. So no worries. So, but I think putting it right. I think we should change it to a list of args. In fact, I think inside Magic, that's exactly what I'm doing. If we go to Magic, yeah, that's what I'm doing. Let's just do that. Let's just fix it now. So we'll take that, copy that, come back over. Is that it? No, it's Q effect. No. Hold on, we'll get there. Q event args. Oh, well, we can do it in args. Fine, let's do it in args. Let's do it.
I was just looking up trying to work out whether the C# had a spread functionality like JavaScript, but I ran across the param array from VB. So params,
Yeah.
does that make any sense to use?
Yeah, we might do that. Give me a second. Are these used yet anywhere?
I think we fed the data in there specifically to have the generation create the properties the way they are.
I find
It was
sometimes.
a nice quick way to do it.
Yeah. I think. Yeah, we're going to need it here too. That's what we're going to need. We're going to need it here as well.
See, I'm a little confused. Can we not just replace all of this with params object data and thus pass in an unknown number of parameters, which will inherently be put into a data or args, if we prefer the way of phrasing it, array? And therefore we don't need all of the assignments either.
Wait, what's going on with my params object? Why do I like that? It's a single dimensional array.
Oh, do we not have the probably need the square brackets?
Is it like that? Is that what it is?
I think it's object array. So param space object array syntax data. Well, that's a bit different. That would be my guess there.
Okay. And you just wanted to have an object array that you assign it to here. You're thinking.
Yeah, so rather than 8 different assignments there, you've got one.
Alright, let's look at that. Args is equal to data. Yeah, the problem with this is now I have to comma separate them. Hold on. This means I have a bunch of objects in the list. At least I thought it did. No? Okay.
So you've got an object array
need
data, which
Okay.
you can either pass an array directly in. By putting the params keyword ahead of that, you can pass it not as an array, but as a sequence of things. So if you like an unwrapped array, so to speak.
Take out numargs. That. Get the initialization and see how this is equal to data. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that call stays the same.
Yes.
Card naming and those are just going to be stacked in. Yeah, this is much better. Event args. Event args. And it comes back in here. Goes to Q, card effect event Q. Here we go. Args.
Yeah.
And then I think we're good. I think that's going to build. Let's try that. It's one of my skills as a Twitch dev. Bringing that up, zooming it up.
Yep.
So,
Something didn't like that. Oh, locked stuff.
yeah, but this is,
Also semicolon after method.
yeah.
Ah, yeah.
Is that going to get rid of my lock stuff? I think I'm going to, wait, Avalon Editor's probably from here. Close that down. Right, let's start it. All right, let's put some breakpoints in here. Look at the data. Yeah, good suggestion, everybody. Thanks for your help on that. I want more animations for the drones.
Yeah.
I want like a mode where they turn into bumblebees or something like that.
I do remember that was part of the original spec, wasn't that?
And everybody's like, I don't want to turn into a bumblebee. I want to be a destructive drone. I'm like, okay. All right, you can do that. Let's see.
Of course, that means we're going to have bumblebees carrying meteors on their back.
Yeah. Or
That could be
else.
interesting.
Something
Really
else.
souped up bees.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go. Streamwoods. Okay, let's set a breakpoint here. Apparently we didn't have it. Oh, here we go.
I was going to say, did we error?
Variable drizzle unknown in expression. Yeah, we had the wrong data in there.
Was that because we didn't have the quote marks?
Yeah, we didn't have the quotes on
Around
it. It's related to the card maker.
Coding Gorilla says he's allergic to bees.
I am too.
Actually, I think I am as well.
Yeah, don't do it. Okay, where's the weather factory? Weather factory's here. Great weather card. Here we go. It's right here. Weather specialist, get effect keyword. We need a string. Delimiter's there. And there. That's for generating new ones. The problem is we have existing cards that have the wrong data. So we
Yeah.
need to start up and fix that as well.
That data, is that stored just in the Google Sheets, or is
Yeah.
that elsewhere as well?
Now, just
Okay,
it's
that's not
just
too
the
bad then.
event, the card plate event needs to change. So we'll come over here. We'll grab our change weathers and come over to the code. And we'll fix it. There's one. There's two. There's three. I do like that I was like, wait, what's drizzle going on here? Why isn't it in quotes?
Yeah.
Usually it's the other way around, I feel like, where I'm like, dang, I didn't see that.
See,
okay.
that's the thing. The syntax highlighting really helps you notice that sort of stuff.
Sure. Okay, so there we go. Now we've got Q effect in there. Now that's all we should need to do. We should just be able to trigger right. Oh wait, no, we have to reload everything. We call reload everything. Also I'm debugging apparently. Oops. Huh, I didn't know we got here. That was weird. We got here even with the bad data? That's weird. Oh, I know why. Well, I don't know why entirely. Interesting. Okay, so let's reload everything. I'm going to click on that. Okay. And show only Fred's nameplate. And play the card. Okay, card redeemed. Run. Okay, now we're here. So step through this. Card event name is weather. That's great news. Data 1 is rain. Data 2 is drizzle. Okay. So then we're going to jump in here. Ours is equal to that. Sweet. Cue the event. That means it already has one in it. Yep, there it is right there. Then we're going to create a new card event, and we're just coming in there and putting the args in it. And drizzle, all that. Okay, good. I think that's it. And then run. Okay, next we need a timer. Let's close it down.
We do.
Do I need to close it down while we make these changes? Yeah, I think I do. Let's close it down. We need a timer. Now I have all these errors here. That's weird. Not sure what's going on there. We'll close this down too. All right, we need a timer. System.timers.timer. I think every second we're going to do this. Maybe 800 milliseconds. Actually construct it down in here. Then we need to go through all the cues and see if anything's playing anything in it.
Yeah.
Look at these great moves.
It's really slick looking, isn't it?
He's got these turns. They're just gorgeous.
They almost add a fair degree of depth to it as well,
Yeah.
because of the kind of echo effect going on the graphical side.
Coding really suggests a singleton instead of a static. It's more deterministic. I don't understand what you mean by that. My feeling is the static is like like safe.
Is
Yeah,
that
I
not
love these
guaranteed
moves.
by the framework?
Look at what Surly's doing. It's awesome. These moves are gorgeous.
It's a little roller coaster like.
Yeah. Really impressive that all of this is being controlled by chat room commands. Sorry, what do you want to say?
Yeah,
Ryan?
I was going to say the individual drones, they're kind of like the cars on a roller coaster. You can imagine kind of sitting in one of them behind each other
Yeah.
and then just doing these loop-the-loop kind of exercises. It's really slick looking.
Yeah, I want you to be able to change the color of your drone, like to change the lights in a way, like maybe turn them on, so you can kind of have rainbow-like effects. And he's just got them all hiding down there. So, yeah, Coding Gorilla. So I'm familiar with Singleton. Singleton requires just a little bit extra overhead to make sure only one of them exists. Oh, here we go. You get in a situation, here, let's put this up so we can read this here. You can get into a situation where the static cue card event fires before the static constructor does. The static cue card event.
Oh, we hit this before a week or so back, didn't we? We made the assumption that accessing a method on an accessing a static method could not happen before the static constructor had fired, but the static constructor is only guaranteed to fire before another constructor, i.e. the instance constructor. Is that what we're talking about?
I don't think so. Coding Gorilla says we can that the cue card event can fire before the static constructor can fire.
Yeah. So because they're both static, you assume that the constructor has to come before. That's only the case in instance-based things.
Yeah, I'm going to throw a breakpoint in here. And I almost think I'm going to just run it now and see what happens. There.
I remember we sat there for several minutes going, this can't happen, just doesn't make sense, it's not allowed. And then Coding Gorilla came back with the spec and it's like, oh, fair enough.
Unrelated to this is what I think, but I could be wrong. I think it was slightly different. There was another situation. Although Coding Gorilla says yes, Roy. Yes. No events, no breakpoints yet. Let's begin the card. Okay, so here's where we're thinking the static instructor will be hit. Well, it is. Okay, so in that case, I think we're okay. With this code, I think we're okay, but I'm going to hold with your suggestion into the back of my head, and I'm going to maybe research this a little bit more. It's not guaranteed to happen, but it's possible. Singleton avoids that possibility. I think, yeah, maybe. I think it depends on the code, I guess, and how you're accessing this. I kind of want to write code that tries to trigger this without doing anything else. How did we get here? What's our call stack? Yeah, our call to here got us here. Pretty sure. Let's stop it and rerun it one more time. In other words, I don't think it's a problem with this call. I think it was something else, Roy. It was an assignment is what it was. We had something on the left equal to something on the right. We thought the left reference would be enough, but it wasn't. That's what it was. That was the problem we ran into.
Yeah, it's the expectation that the static constructor will fire before other static things can be used. And it turns out that that's not true. So it definitely affected us last time. Now, it wouldn't affect us here unless...
Yeah, so here's the line of code right here. We haven't seen the constructor yet. We're calling cue card event, right? So we're calling this, and the constructor, we haven't seen the constructor yet. As soon as I hit F11 on here, I'm expecting to get into that static constructor, and I am. So I don't think it's that scenario. I think it's more a scenario where we have something like this, where I have card event manager. This is, I think, the problem code. and inside here, I'm passing in some other parameter, some other call, my method, my proc call, results of that. And my proc is out over here, something like that. And my proc at this point, and the constructor for card event manager sets some sort of global somewhere, right? Some sort of value somewhere else. And so what happens is my proc relies on that, but it doesn't exist yet because my proc is called first, then we've got the constructor. Once we have the constructor, then we call the static constructor. That's what I think we saw. It was something like that?
Yeah, I'm totally with you. Calling that constructor sort of preempts with the static constructor. So why does the static constructor fire ahead of this static method?
Well, because we need to call a method on the class, and now we gotta call the constructor. I think in this case with this code, this will always be called, and we never get into this problem. However, I think in other situations the problem can exist, and so singleton may be the way to go, and that's solve that solution. And I think you're right, Coding Gorilla, that singleton can definitely protect against those kinds of things. But I think I'm favoring the static class because it feels simpler to me. It's what I'm favoring. Okay. All right. Let's now let's see. We got that. We were working on the timer. And we got the timer elapsed. And now at this point, what we want to do is we want to do this. We go through each card event queue and we want to call inside of that, hey, DQ if it makes sense. DQ if possible. And so we want to check to see if queue card events count is equal to 0, and if it is, we return. Next, we need to know if something is still playing or not.
Yeah.
Which means we're going to have to track the time, and I think we're going to need to know how much time something takes.
Yeah, we're going to need to know how long to wait, essentially, because any given piece can have its own length of time. We don't really want to have to, well, we don't want to have to ask it too many times, that's for sure. If the piece of video is 6.5 seconds long, then we can reasonably say that after 6.5 seconds after having started it, look at that.
Yeah. It's so good.
People in the roller coaster. It's got essentially bobble-headed people on the coaster going up.
What's Groversaurus doing?
And down.
So cool. Yeah, I'm loving it.
It's kind of mesmerizing, isn't it?
Do you have this? How are you getting the smooth curves? Do you have this by chance like connected to a mouse? As you move the mouse around?
Oh no, derailment! Roller coaster overboard.
Just, I was lulling you into a false sense of security. No such luck. You don't have it to a mouse. Because you could do that, right? That's how I would imagine I would build the smooth curves. How are you doing the smooth curves, Surly? You just have commands to send them to the corners. So you just alternate those commands and they accelerate rapidly. It's super cool.
I guess if you instruct all of them to go to a corner and they're not yet in the same, they're trailing one another, then they will depart from different locations, which will cause an artificial curve.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Jetsam flying in.
Hey, Jetsam.
Whoa, did you see that?
Welcome to the show.
One destroyed, the other picked it up down below.
Drones playing tag.
Ooh, Groversaurus. Not moving. I'm worried about Groversaurus. Okay, so we need a way to track. Which begs
We
the
need to be able to
question.
discern the length of time of the object, even if we have it passed in, and then track, effectively, come back in time enough to know that that item has, in theory, finished, so that we can get the next item out of the queue appropriately.
Yeah. And who knows when the event is done. In the case of weather, let's switch over to our spec. Let's figure this out. I'm stunned that DQ is spelled this way. NQQUE. Yeah, okay.
That's not right.
That's not right?
That can't be right. There's a second UE, surely.
There we go. Oh, did I have something like that and I took it away? Okay, good. There we
Maybe.
go. Thanks. We need a way to DQ at the right time for each category in the dictionary. That implies we need to know when an event is complete. And for weather, the answer is complicated. Because it can be 1 minute or 1 round if we are in combat.
Oh.
And plus, on top of that, let's put this on its own line. If we're counting down the minute and we enter combat, we need to switch
Yeah.
to 1 round.
I mean, you almost can't rely on natural time at all. You're going to have an end event.
Yeah. Okay. In this case, I think we are. If we are in combat and we exit, we need to switch to 1 minute. So we need to track the time. So this is rare. This is like maybe not this one actually. Because if we're in combat and we're lasting 1 round, that could already be like, it could be like 10 minutes to go 1 set of turns, everybody goes. So if you, I'm not going to worry about that. But, but basically, some item knows when it's done. For stampedes,
Wasn't there a mechanic already in the game for spell effects that effectively determined a D&D period of time in the future when a thing would expire?
yeah, it's not really gonna work. Well, it might work for weather, but weather's got this switching logic in the middle of it. So we're gonna need an object. In other words, I think that we're gonna be looking at these card event pieces are going to be dedicated descendants of card event. Is what I think they're going to be. And those descendants are going to listen to the game and based on the game decide when they are available or not available, when they're done. Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
I think it goes like this. I think there is an active card event. I think. And we check to say, hey, if it's not equal to null, and no, if it's equal to null, or if active card event is done, then we can DQ. DQ now. That's what I think it looks like right there. So we've got an is done right there. So it's not going to be tracking the time. I think it's going to be sophisticated. I didn't finish talking about what the stampede situation is. But stampedes, there are two components. There are two components, maybe three. There are two components at least. There's video, and there's a die roll, which could take a while.
Right, yes.
Time to complete, because the Dungeon Master has to target players and NPCs in the path. So we're waiting for a while for that guy to finish. So we need something sophisticated to go in and listen and watch the game. So we can play the video. At the very least, at a min this time for this video. So one of the things that we could consider doing over here is we could create a min time for video. Min time for video. And that would be real time, not game time. Min real time for video. And put whatever it was for Stampede. For Stampede, this makes sense. For the Stampede videos. Those video links are different based on which Stampede is playing. I'm not so sure about this anymore, but basically we're thinking something like, 9 seconds or something like that. All right. So now we're down to
Go it.
I think my friend Rory's got to go soon.
That was a less than subtle.
Less than subtle.
That was supposed to be a lot quieter than that. Yes, as you may have guessed, I am at a point in which my time for today at least has evaporated. Yes, I'm not so subtle.
No worries.
That is the nature of it. Alright everybody, have a great rest of the stream, and I will catch you tomorrow at the same time.
Thanks, Rory.
See you soon. Bye.
Bye. Okay, card event is coming out. And then we wanted to say card event dot activate. Something like that. Card event dot activate. And we also want to say, actually change this to active card event. Set that equal to that. And call activate on it. And we got to do something here. Start the video. Put timers, etc. Excuse me. Timers, put game events, whatever that's going to be. Did that work, Pudding? I didn't. I had my eyes off the confidence monitor here. It worked. I want to make this virtual. Create a descendant card event. This is going to be a weather card event. Change weather card event. We're going to override activate. And we're going to see what we can do here. think I'm going to need to do some refactoring in the main app here. This main app, we've been developing this to the tune of about 10,000 lines of code for a couple purposes. One is I want to have a nice big file here so I can push stress code rush out. And two is, well, you know, that was the main reason. I guess there's really not a strong second reason. But somewhere here we've got something for changing scenes, I think. And I think that's in this space. On request play. Play scene after. Play scene. It needs OBS WebSocket. I'm going to pull all this out. Everything WebSocket related I'm pulling out. I'm going to put it in another class. So let's do that. Let's create a new class called our OBS Manager. Drop a marker there. Let's tap the next reference to find everything we need to do. So we're going to drop a marker there. Hold on a second. Okay. Fleet manager done. Okay. Okay. Cool. Fleet manager's done. Bringing it up. Let's go continue to find OBS WebSocket. It's part of initialize. It needs a game. So we need to add that to here. We need to kind of swap the order here a little bit. Whoops, I don't need anything there. Hold on. We need that. Now we need to go find Weather Manager. Got to load. Show weather. Okay. Weather Manager. Pull that out. Pop it up here. OBS WebSocket. Set source visibility. We need to extract this. Take this, move this up to OBS Manager. We need to copy this one. We're listening to it. Well, actually, we should be able to just inline this temp and delete the method. Okay. Connect to OBS. Just calling that. That's happening down near the end of this. I think what I might want to do is go to the OBS manager and call connect. Like that. We just don't want to mess with the order too much in the initialization. Okay. Get foundational scene. Is foundational scene. I'm going to grab those two. And I'll take foundational scene away. And return to scene, I need that as well. And play scene. Well, not entirely all of that. Slight problem. And this is a high level piece, and this is kind of lower level stuff. So how am I going to call back to it is the question. All right, let's leave play scene alone for a second while we think about that. Lost music. Okay. All right, taking that out. What else we got in here? WebSocket, OBS WebSocket, scene return timer. We got a problem with play scene. We're gonna have to figure that out. Okay, so basically looking at this, we've got the return to scene handler. This is going to be in our initialization. I think these were happening before the load. Yeah, let's do them after. Okay. Scene return timer. So we're in play scene. Right there. Tell Dungeon Master is part of the iDungeon Master app. So what I think I'm going to do, which the main window implements, so what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to go to that initialize and I'm going to pass in a reference to that as well. And we'll create a property for that. Okay, now we've got the Dungeon Master app, which means now we can take care of that play scene issue we saw before there. Let's go find that play scene. We need this, it looks like. Scene return finder, so we need to go find that. Play scene, we need this. Almost done, I think, here. There's play scene. Here we need the Dungeon Master app. It's going to help us out with that. Okay. Maybe. Interesting. Yeah, super interesting. I love the approach of doing the opposite corners though, Surly. It looks so cool. Okay, scene return timer. How are we doing with that? I think that's it. There's no more of these down here. Scene return timer. Nope, that's the only one. Sweet. Last scene played. Cool. Last scene played's coming up. OBS WebSocket, we still need to get play scene timer. All right, so we're going to take all of this, turn this into, let's extract this actually. See what we need, okay. And then we're going to go into OBS manager, new method. Okay. Okay. You have to bypass the NAT firewall on his machine. Scary, scary stuff. Just writing a function that will do those random corner commands for me. Random corners and random delays between each command. The command is called Coaster. Kotufa82. Thanks for the follow. I'm really enjoying encoding this bot and using Vim on Raspberry Pi. It's sitting on my desk 600 kilometers away from me. Then Node.js runs the bots connecting to Twitch chat using tmi.js, looking for me sending commands in Twitch chat. Nice. Hello, Katufa82. Welcome. Welcome and thank you for the follow. We're refactoring some C# code, trying to get some D&D related scenes and stuff to play. It's a little complex here in terms of making this whole thing work. Doing some refactoring now in my C#, taking a hack at my 10,000 plus lines of code file and breaking things into a second method that second class I'm gonna put somewhere else. Let's go find play scene timer. Did I remember the initialization? Oh, I didn't. There it is right there. Let's get that. Get it back into initialization. Like that. Let's keep finding play scene timer. That's it. Good. Okay. Now, OBS WebSocket. Next scene play. We'll find that. There's only that one down below here. Sort of, you could have a virtual drone where you maintain a virtual copy of the drone. It's on the screen position, and your controller updates the virtual drone and periodically sends an F command to chat to sync the position. Consider stacking play requests. I'm going to take that to do and bring it with me. Last scene played. Maybe problematic. I think it needs to be public. Yeah. Maybe this is going through OBS Manager. And declare it. So you use a controller to fly the drone, you're actually flying the virtual drone, and then the bot sends stream commands to make the stream drone match the virtual drone. Next return. Milliseconds. Play scene in string. Dang it, I took something away that I need to keep down there. That, I think, is the one I need. I think that's what we need there. And then we're finally down to the web socket, I think. Grabbing the LDS web socket. And it looks like we're not used anymore. Sweet. That should compile. Let's take our OBS Manager class and throw it in its own file. We got about 180 lines of code out. It's not bad. Let's build, see if we have any errors. Build succeeded. Let's do a run and see if we can test this. You can test with Dimension Door. Dimension Door plays a video, also turns my visibility off, and then switches back to another scene. So switches to a scene for a certain amount of time, turns my video off and sync to the video. So it's a good test. Yeah, I think Putty's right. I think you're going to need to make that work, that virtual drone, you need to have some sort of feedback into where the actual drones are. So I think you would need. That's why I got a breakpoint there. Okay, let's cast Dimension Door. So it should disappear. Oh wow, it didn't even switch. It did not even switch. We broke something. No errors either. I suspect it's in our initialization. I think we may have messed with the order in here. Let me get that down. Thanks for that, Coding Gorilla. Everything we did looked good, except for I'm worried about our initialization order because we're pulling things and kind of moving them up. And that's about the only suspect I have right now for why this wouldn't be working. We are getting messy. We have a couple exceptions here that we are not stopping at. Set some breakpoints there, try it again. So you can do drone pudding and it spells pudding one letter at a time. All right, with those breakpoints in place, let's try casting the spell again. Okay. requested scene does not exist. DH smoke wrap 2. Well, that's correct. I have a smoke wrap 3, but not a 2. That's 3. It's got the wrong one. Why is it coming in with a 2? 0, 1. Oh, did it make me disappear? It looks like that part worked. 0, 1, 2, 3. 3 is correct, not 2. So it should not be a 2 coming in. Let's check out our call stack, see what's going on. How are we getting this data? DH smoke wrap 3, that's the correct one. Wait, did the scene name change? DH smoke wrap. I know what's happening. It's thinking it's a random. It's getting a random name for is what's happening. And normally we would switch these here. Wild magic roll. Let's see that one. That one worked. Okay, the problem isn't. I don't think this is necessarily something we broke yet. We need to look at the call stack on here. Got a bunch of die rolls that are DQing here.
Do you hear that music?
Okay, one more time. Cast the spell. All right. Scene smoke wrap with index. This is my problem space here. That's it, right there. So the resource visibility. This place scene, when it sees the piece in brackets, thinks that I want a random number of these. I need to change this code to have slashes in front of this, right here. Let's set a breakpoint here. Let's keep running. See if we can change that code. Dimension door. I believe the fix is here and here. That's what I think the fix is. And I will always give it an index 3 position, so it will always find it. Let's see if that works. Dimension door again. There, it's got the new code. Let's run it. Characters missing in this expression. Shoot. So the regular expression engine isn't going to like me doing that, which means I think I know what I need to do. My code is now 2 slashes here and 2 slashes there. Let's see if that works at all. Please, because after this, I'm not sure what we're gonna do here. Run from here. I should have hovered over it. Well, it looks like that works, and it's turning me off, my video off. And then it should bring my video back in when I'm in sync with the effects, right about now. Okay, that sounds like that's correct in terms of what that does. What's happening is, so we bypass the double slashes. Can I not see off that edge? It's meant for a wider screen, is that what's going on? Double slashes. For literal brackets. All right, just save that in code. And okay, so that's good. It looks like that refactoring is complete. So now we've got the OBS manager. Now what I think I want to do is I want to extract an interface from this. So I'm going to shut down the app. Let's get an interface, pulling one out. Okay, I don't need connect, I don't need initialize. And do I need the Dungeon Master app? Yeah, I think I do. Or maybe it's just a separate piece. This is a little cleaner if I do it that way. Okay, so now I've got my OBS manager in here. And I want to pass that thing down when it's time to dequeue. Let's go event queuing, queue card event. Maybe let's add it here. Like that. We're going to make the type the iOBS manager, and then I'm going to add it here. No, add it here. There's a parameter here. Nope, I can't. It's parameter here. Add parameter. And then here we're going to declare field with the initializer. So there's our OBS manager there, and then when we trigger the event, the activate call, I want to throw that at it. So now we've kind of managed to pass that down here. So now we can start the video, hook game events, do those kinds of things. All right, good. So with regards to the change weather card event, I think we need to create, so the architecture is going to get a little big right here. Got him, need to work on numbers now. What'd you get, Pudding? We also need to optimize paths? What are we talking about? How many drones? Oh, you're doing it too. I see what's going on, Pudding. Pudding's going to create some drones to spell out pudding. Yeah. Positions for pudding. Reduce the distances that need to be traveled. Okay. So I've got this change weather card event. Nobody's creating this thing yet. Instead, we're creating new card events, but I don't want to do that actually. Right there, that's where we're creating new card events. I want to actually create. I want to do something like card event dot create and pass in the args. No, hold on, not quite done yet. I want to pass in EA dot card event name. So this is going to be the word weather or stampede, that sort of thing. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create our own attribute, a custom attribute, apply the attribute to the descendants, link up the attribute with the names I want the descendants to be associated with, and then have this create method be a factory that picks the right descendant class and instantiates it. That's what I'm going to do. So that's what we need to do. So let's do that. I could also take a massive shortcut that's not extensible at all and just look at the name and see what name is and then create it. Kind of do that lookup. I have those two options. I was veering towards the second choice, but really the question is, I suppose, do I have a lot of these? Yeah, I don't have a lot. Maybe I'll take the shortcut. The architecture is not as beautiful if I do it that way, but it's it's super crude and inflexible and requires, more crudeness if we do extend. Am I going to need any other kind of cute events? I think I'm leaning towards doing it the non-crude way. So to do, create the correct an instance of the correct card event descendant. Maybe another to do here, consider an elegant architecture. I'm going to do it the crude way first, and then we'll see what we want to do here. So basically it's going to look like this. Hey, if card event name is equal to weather, then we're going to say return new weather event, is what I think I called it. Change weather card event. And we're going to pass in args. Like that. Then else if CNAME is equal to Stampede, card event name is equal to Stampede, and create a new Stampede card event. Card event's going to have the args. Hold on. Let me do this. Base args. Like that. And then the Stampede card event looks like that. And card event is going to be abstract. And this is going to be abstract. Like that. And then at this point we're going to get out of there and return null. If we got a problem, or maybe throw an exception, I'm not sure. I want to kill the app. I'm not sure really where my best place is to do this. I'm going to just come in here, introduce a local. Okay, so while debugging, we'll hopefully find that if there's any issues in there. Okay, let's run that. I just shot out all of Surly's drones we're hitting. Oh, that's actually interesting, Surly. I just realized that if you're putting a farther position away, they go faster. So you can kind of control the speed of which they turn by saying, here's where I want you to aim for. That's super cool. Okay. Let's go play that card. Okay, I'm going to run it. Queue event. Coming in here. Card is weather, so change weather event R. Where we are. Nice. So we've got that. I'm going to call in queue to enqueue it. And then we should have that other timer. Do I have a breakpoint on it? Maybe I don't. I should have a breakpoint on here. Where's my timer? DQ if possible. Should be coming in here. There we go. What's our count? We're down to 0. So it looks like we've already DQ'd it. So we went into DQ now, calling activate. So that's kind of where we want to be right there. All right, so let's try it again. Let's play the card again with this new breakpoint here. Through that. No breakpoint. We're not DQing it. Boy, it really feels like we should be getting there based on the code we saw before. Count is 1. Active card event. If this is false. What is false about it? Active card event is equal to null. Or active card event is done. So active card event is not, we've never cleared active card event is the problem. So we need to kind of figure that out. Looks like we're coming in here. If we do activate it, I almost feel like we can immediately set this back down to null here. That's kind of what I'm feeling. So why do I even need it? Now we're actually here. Now we've got these args. Args, rain and drizzle are the first two that I've got. That's the card name. Drizzle's the keyword. is what it is. That's in position 1. So I think we could just do this. Keyword, weather keyword is equal to that. Timer's kicking off back in here. Okay, let's try again. No breakpoint. Oh, there it is. There we go, drizzle. Got it. Let's run it for a second. I want to see what's going on with weather. I'm sensing more refactoring is needed. Show weather. Weather keyword. Show weather, I think, is inside Dungeon Master app. Dungeon Master app. Sweet. So I think all I need to do in this breakpoint here is just, oh, but I didn't pass in the Dungeon Master app. I need that as well to talk to it from here. All right, so let's do that. When we call activate, we're going to also pass in the Dungeon Master app. Okay. Wait, let's not actually do that. Let's instead do it where we set this up right here. Sweet. All right, cool. Now we have that. Oh, this became map 1 for some reason. Okay. Card event queue. Let's initialize this. Okay. Cool. Now, when I call activate, we're going to throw that out as well. Nice. 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 Okay, next, we're going to come in here, and we're going to say, hey, Dungeon. This, by the way, is going to go into, we want to go in and say expressions dot get stir. Like that. And then we're going to say show weather keyword. That's what we're going to do. That might just do it. That might just make it ring when we play that card. Now, we still need to track the time and track when something is done. So that we're going to need to do that. And we're going to put that logic here and in here, in these two classes. Let me move these two separate files right here. They're showing up right over here. Stampy card event. Like that. And so I just want to remind you or point out that we've still got this kind of weak point in the architecture here. We've got these double to-dos where I'm basically saying, hey, if it's this, then create that. If it's this, then create this. There's a more elegant approach that's extensible. So, nice. Look at that. Look at these curves. Yeah, I'm loving it, Surly. It's looking really, really good. And then you hide behind Fred. It's like perfect. That and making CSVs. Wait, what did you draw that in? Excel. Wait, what's going on with pudding? I need to go to the pudding. Did you draw it pudding? Nice. That's a lot of drones, buddy. That's a lot of drones. Yeah. Okay. It's kind of fun. So that's a weak point in the architecture. I have the feeling we're close to getting this working. Now I just need the coordinates. Well, the coordinates are, you know, it's 1920 across and 1080 down. So you can go to your Excel spreadsheet, you can put a formula in that figures out what the value is based on the cell's position and number. Like you already know, like you could do it in a pretty simple way, I think. You basically divided this into like the screen of 1, 2, 3, 9, 10, 11, 12, like maybe 12 high. So you basically just take your 1080 and divide by 12. And then that's 90, so you multiply each one of these by 90 and that's your Y position. And then do the same thing with 1920 across. That's how you do it. This is making me crazy, that picture. I can't look at that anymore. Okay. So let's play the card. We're up and running. See if rain shows up. Okay, there's the card. We're in here. Hey, we got rain, kids. That's exciting. Light fog. Let's clear the breakpoint. Nice. Sweet. Okay, not bad. We still got to DQ it. Snowstorm. Let's do a snowstorm. I like it. It's not bad. Not bad. We still need to DQ it. We need to have the queue work, be wave. And we need to protect, right? If I'm in the middle of this playing and it's got to play for a minute, I cannot shut it down by starting a new one, by playing a new card. That, I think, is kind of important. So we need to protect that. Light winds. I don't think I have this working yet. I don't think I've... Oh, I do. Look at that. Sweet. All right. I'm going to call that a show. I think tomorrow we're going to work on... we're going to work on the queue, I think, tomorrow. Maybe something else. I'm not sure. We'll come back and take a look at it. We'll see you kids tomorrow. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out with us. Are you going to make the attack DMG rolls take into account those modifiers? Yes, that is my goal. Yeah, thanks, Cody Gorilla. Yeah, I'm that's absolutely the goal. For the light winds, it's tough. This one's the trickiest one because we need to specify somebody's upwind or downwind. So we need to figure that out. So there's definitely some components to it that. Same thing here, lightning attacks +3 to hit with, +3 damage. but I want it to be automatic. My goal is that if it's raining because of a weather change the player specified, then lightning attacks, before any roll, we're going to check to see, are there any weather modifiers that we're going to add? And if it's a lightning attack, we're going to throw in +3 with +3 damage. That's what we're going to do. Okay, so we're going to have to, account for weather effects. I'm not sure exactly what that looks like yet. We'll have to figure that out. But, we're kind of working our way through it. Let's get a raid going. Thanks again, everybody, for hanging out. Let's see who we got out there. Followed Chael Codes, by the way, yesterday. That felt like a good move. And she's out there now. Here we go, kids. That's going to be fun, says Cody Rolla. We'll see. All right, see you kids tomorrow.